Welcome to the Tim Lauer Podcast. We talk about all things small business, real estate, politics, local and national. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're here with Jerry Carl, running for Congressional District 1. Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Thank you, Tim, for having me on your show. I enjoy watching it.
Absolutely. Thank you. You and I are both guys that have built things from the ground up. And you know what it's like to sign the front of a paycheck, not just the back of the paycheck. What's the biggest business lesson you took to D.C. that career politicians just don't understand?
Don't forget your roots. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the struggle as a small businessman you went through. Because once you hit it successful, it's so easy to forget all those restless nights and those 18-hour days and all the things that got you to a point where you could actually breathe for a different. I spent 40 years in business for myself, so I've gone through a lot of struggles. So when I took that to Washington, I also took the work ethic of that. So 15, 18-hour days are not that uncommon up there. So I try to use that small business mentality in Washington.
That's great. What made you want to jump into this race?
Well, I've never really been involved in politics. Obviously, I've supported some candidates, friends, so on and so forth. My son got deployed, went to the Marine Corps and got deployed in Marja, Afghanistan. And as I'm watching that battle play out on TV, and several days without hearing from him, I really got to question my loyalty to the country and what I have done for the country. So I got involved in politics as my way of giving back. Politics wasn't my first choice. I searched around for something else to do. I've always been very active in my church. I'm 20-plus years as a deacon, so I'm very active in my church and serving people. So service is something that's always come natural to me. And I saw an article in the newspaper where a county commissioner was saying that he was going to hold some permits on a pipeline that wanted to come through because they didn't come to him first. And I thought to myself, that we're going to run for county commissioner because that's the attitude we don't need.
Sure.
We need those jobs. At that time, the unemployment rate was about 14.5%.
Wow.
I told my wife, I said, we're running for county commission. She goes, okay, great. What is a county commission? I went, I don't know. So we Googled it and figured out it was road and bridges, and the rest is history. I spent 8 years as a county commissioner learning. Of course, I knew budgets. I understood budgets from my business background. But I also learned infrastructure and importance of that, financing, more equipment, keeping the jails safe with not just in compliance with the federal government, also with quality staffing. So it's a struggle, these small communities.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about the business you started when you were 25.
I got to think back. Gosh, the first business at 25, I actually started, my first business was not at 25. I know that's what we have in print.
Oh, gotcha.
But my mother owned a fabric store, and she had these ugly old zippers that she couldn't sell. And I agreed to buy them from her for a penny. And I crawled up under the counter with those zippers. And as the ladies would walk by, I would reach out and grab their skirts and ask them if they wanted to buy a zipper. And they were buying those zippers for me for a nickel.
Okay.
Thinking, they were helping me out. And I started getting in my mother's notions, the notions, thread and zippers and stuff. That's where the real profit's made. So she wound up buying me out within a few days.
Oh, wow.
So I would say that was my first business. I bought it for a penny and sold it for a nickel. It's not hard, folks. I mean, it's buy low, sell high. It's pretty simple.
That's right.
But the one we're referring to there was actually a home health care, getting into healthcare equipment, primarily equipment only, not so much nursing. But we did oxygen and tube feeding and Billy Rubin lights for children. We did anything home care related. And that was the real meat of it. We did several pharmacies, primarily compound pharmacies. We focused on it's not the typical pharmacy that you would think of. We focused on bronchodilators and also hemophilia patients. Some people refer to them as free bleeders, and they're very high tolerance. They're high maintenance patients, and most pharmacies just don't want to carry that.
Awesome. So you grew up with a single mother.
Yeah.
How has that influenced your outlook as a politician?
My mother would get up and make us breakfast every morning. That was her only time she would get to spend with us, the family. and then she would work all day. So, and of course, when we got out of school, we all went to the store and we worked too, but that was our meal together. And I take her work ethic, and she had an incredible work ethic, and she always tried to find ways to help other people. So, and she had a servant's heart also. I would say I take certainly my attitude, I take my looks and my size from my dad, but my mother, I got some of her best qualities, I think, which is she was a servant. But her work ethic was second to none. I mean, she worked 7 days a week. After church, she would go in, and we all would, for that matter, refold material and sort notions and get the store set up.
That's great. That's some great lessons learned. As a former congressman, what specific spending cuts would you demand first to bring down inflation for small business? I
think the first thing we need to focus on when we get back in, now if I go back in, I go back on appropriations and I go back on natural resources. The one thing right now I really want to get my hooks into is on the appropriation side and start looking for the fraud. You know, the DOGE, Elon Musk and DOGE group went through and identified the big ticket items. So that should be a pretty easy one to pull those up and go back and start looking there. But, you know, everyone's focused on Minnesota. I promise you there's Minnesotas all across this country.
That's right.
I said this 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, if we could just clean the fraud up, we wouldn't have this debt that we're dragging in behind us and accumulating every year. Of course, President Trump's beginning to say that also. He's got a much better look at it than I did, even being on appropriations, because they hide stuff from you. They truly do. And you put a nice package together and cut so many of these fraudulent things out and ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
Every congressman's got their wish list in there, whether it's a LGBTQ dance hall in Guatemala or, you know, you laugh, but honestly, I mean, I'll pull one of those out.
Wow.
And then you got to argue it on the floor after you pull it out, because, you know, they're telling you how bad the Guatemalans need this dance center for community services. And I'm going, no, it's not our responsibility. We take care of Americans first.
That's right.
And as long as you hold majority, you can do that. And when you lose majority, which I served 2 years in the minority, first 2 years, 4 years under Biden total, but 2 years in the minority and 2 years in the majority, it's two different worlds.
That's right.
So we're constantly fighting over what gets funded, and it's usually social issues. That's usually the big kickers, social issues.
Yeah, it's amazing to think, you know, people are out there working hard every day, and other people are opening Somalian daycares and and running with.
Yeah, again, I mean, we're talking about Somali daycares, but wait till we get in Los Angeles. I bet you there's more fraud in Los Angeles, and I heard some reports. I shouldn't say but I heard some reports they're looking at Medicaid that's going to dwarf what's going on in Minnesota.
Wow.
I mean, you think about that. So you start adding all those big cities up, and this fraud and abuse is probably the most un-American thing you can do is steal from your own government, because you're stealing from all of us. You're not stealing from Uncle Sam. You're stealing from every taxpayer there is.
That's right.
And that's about as un-American as you can get.
Absolutely.
Where I'm from.
I agree.
And some of them need to go to jail, if not all of them.
Oh, definitely.
So
we need to put the hammer down.
Yeah, we need to make sure we make some examples and keep this from happening again, because if they keep walking and there's no penalty to pay for it, they'll pay a fine and move and do it again somewhere else.
Right. That's right. How do you balance local needs with national policy? You know,
local needs for me are very, very simple. You being a city council member, when I get elected, you'll get a phone call from me at odd times and odd places, and just say, Tim, what do you need? You know, what's the community need? You feel the heartbeat. I tell people this, and I'm very sincere. The best politics is local politics. Look at your city council members. Look at your judges. View every one of those as the most important vote you cast, because those are the people that are going to make all the true decisions for you on a day-to-day basis. So I reached back to the community, and I looked at the community leaders and the elected community leaders, and I asked them, what do you need? What can I do? What can I change? What do you need a new law for? Give me some idea of what your needs are. And I really stay plugged in with the mayors and the county commissioners and city council members, and I also look at our state reps. I look at our representatives and our senators in the state side too, and see what their needs are. Then I take it back to Washington and see if there's something we can do. Fairhope is an example. Remember all the water shortages they were having?
Yep.
Well, the mayor there, Mayor Sullivan, said, Jerry, we need help with a water tower. If we had a second water tower, we wouldn't be having these problems. So I actually put a package together for a second water tower. Nice. I came out of office, and I don't know exactly where that project is now, but those are the type of things that I don't mind spending taxpayers' money on infrastructure. When you start talking about repaving a road, when you start talking about helping city or a county with sewer or water issues, that's where the federal government can be the most help to a local community.
Gotcha.
Other than that, you guys have got to do your job, and you do.
Oh, sure,
I mean, you look at Foley. I mean, this is God's country over here. I don't know how you're keeping up with growth, but it's a pretty busy place.
It's coming at us fast and furious.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I saw some projections that we'll be at 37,000 in the next 5 years. So, yeah, it's growing quickly. What's something you've seen in Washington that would surprise people back home?
The biggest surprise to me when I got to Washington was the spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that you go to Washington and you're dealing with bad people. There are a lot of bad people up there, and there's a lot of negative, bad spirits up there, demonic spirits. But my gosh, there's so many born-again Christians up there walking around praying. I can literally sit on the floor and tell you who's walking around the room praying. They'll take turns. There's always a prayer meeting somewhere where the members will get together and pray together, Republicans and Democrats. I think that's extremely important that we pray together.
Absolutely.
And there's always options there, but I think the biggest thing was going into that demonic feeling. You go into a room and you feel like somebody's got a foot on your chest.
Really?
And you can feel it. That's when you got to stop and kind of put your back to the wall and start talking to God, because he can certainly outweigh everything in that room and get your strength back and wade into it.
Sure thing.
Wade into it. Just pray your way through it.
That's right. We just got back from D.C., and it's nice to get away, but it's great to be out of the swamp.
It's a lot of pressure up there. People think, oh, it's a great job. I promise you, running for an office is nothing compared to being in office.
Sure.
People don't get that. They don't understand it. They think we get all these special privileges. I see where they're cutting the Senate want to stop the Senate from having a straight line through TSA in the airport.
Okay.
Well, I promise you, as a congressman, I never had a straight line. I stood in line with everybody else, but the senators don't. They get back door. They bring them literally through a door and straight onto the plane. They don't have to stand in line.
Gotcha.
But that's the way it's set up. But it's a hard place to serve. It's a hard place to live. It's an expensive place to live. But I love fighting for the folks in South Alabama. I love fighting. The fight that has to be fought. And I'll tell you, and be able to serve with Donald Trump, my gosh, I would love to be able to record that in history, that I actually got to serve under Trump. Barry Moore talks about, he was the first to endorse Donald Trump.
Yep.
Well, I was standing behind the curtains when all that was going on, because Trump had come in. I was county commissioner, and we greeted him. We were all standing behind the curtains when he took the stage. So I've been a Trump fan from day one myself. I may not have stepped out like Barry did, which Barry's been rewarded for that, obviously. But we're very, very strong Trump family. Hey, you're in South Alabama. You might as well get used to it.
That's right.
I see the hat over there on your shelf. So
yeah, yes, sir.
We're proud of those hats.
Absolutely.
I've got one of the original ones. The original ones have the green bib on the bottom.
Okay.
Those are the ones that Trump threw out originally.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, no, I've loved the campaigns and everything, and he's coming back stronger than ever, and just really making a statement with his second term.
Think about what that man's done. We were talking about, we were in Dothan last night. We got back in about 1 o'clock this morning, and we were talking on the way back in, and we were talking about the war. We were talking about, I don't want to call it a war, the conflict that's going on right now.
Sure.
And Tommy Tuberville and I went into Panama during COVID. And we did that because we knew there were problems down there. And when we got down there, we discovered a lot more problems than we anticipated. The Chinese had basically taken it over. So we came back and started talking about that. But think about since Trump has got in office, he's turned the Panama Canal around. The Chinese have moved out.
That's right.
He's looking at Cuba right now. Venezuela. I mean, they're right on the verge of having a free democracy, open democracy down there, and an open voting system. You look at Iran, the threat of that nut job hitting anywhere with a nuclear bomb is just about gone. I'm not a war person, but I'd rather take it to them than them bring it to us.
I love the approach of the Secretary of War and that we're being on the offense instead of the defense.
Yes, exactly.
That's huge.
I've sent a son into combat, and I've sat around worried about that. I don't want any boots on the ground. I mean, if they run out of bombs, we can drop refrigerators, we can drop washing machines, we can find something to throw out the back of that plane down on them.
That's right. And hopefully they'll kind of crumble from the inside out. Now
And I think the people will take over. That's the best case scenario, is the people themselves take over, and let's get out.
It almost seems like Trump's trying to set up our allies to be the ones that
they should. The Arab nations, and I said this the other day when I was interviewing with somebody, the Arab nations should take over. I mean, that's their brotherhood. They should step in there and, you look at the Arab nations, I mean, they still have a king. They still have got a monarchy set up there, but it's got a certain amount of diplomacy about it. I mean, they don't cut people's heads off in the open streets.
That's right.
So I think the Arab nations should take it over and should rebuild it. They certainly have the money. We're out of money. I'm tired of spending money.
Yeah.
I want a military that's well equipped. There's no doubt about that. But I'm tired of spending it on other countries. And if we're going to spend it on other countries, let's get it back.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, please get us some oil. They've got oil. We need oil back. Get us paid back, please, sir.
That's exactly right.
And Trump's got that mentality. If you watch him, he's got that mentality. He's going to get his money back.
Oh, yeah.
That's another reason I love him.
That's right.
Nothing's free.
It's an amazing time to be alive and see leadership like Trump, the genius of people like Elon Musk, and then AI. How do you think AI is going to shift what you guys do in Congress?
Well, AI is becoming. Everybody says we got to find a way to control it. It's gone. I mean, it's AI is going to be driving AI. I mean, how's it going to affect Congress? I mean, we're using it now. When we do research, we've got. I don't right now, but every member's got a staff, and they're doing research on a particular product or a particular problem, and we're getting AI's report on it. AI's probably.
And they're problem solving.
They're problem solving for us. The bad thing is if somebody ever gets a hold of AI and can drive what the narrative is, that's the dangerous part.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're seeing in the media. You got one or two people that's driving all the conversation in the media, and I think that's where these podcasts are becoming so important. I mean, I can't get a message out. It's hard for me to get a message out as a candidate. All candidates are the same way. I'm not being picked on.
Sure.
But it's hard for us to get a message out where we used to could push it out through the open media. Now podcasts are taking the place of it because we can sit here and talk freely to one another and disagree, and people can watch and go, well, I like what he said or I don't like what he said, versus what's printed, because everything that's printed or put on the Internet's got a slant or a turn to it that they want the reader to take.
That's right. And the media is definitely moving in the wrong direction.
Yes.
National media.
It is, and it has been for years, though. It truly has.
I
saw things on the floor that I found myself coming home defending Nancy Pelosi. Because, I mean this seriously. I know it sounds horrible as a Republican, but, I want to be fair and honest with people. But, I'd be on the floor and I'd see something happen, and I'd go back to my apartment and I'd watch it on Fox News, and I'm going, that's not what she said. That's not what she meant.
That's right.
I was on the floor. I know what she said, and I know what she meant. That you've twisted it 180 degrees. And I think that's the sad part of media, as most people gets it.
Yeah.
So that's what excites me about the podcast becoming so popular. And I'm doing as many as I can get on.
That's right.
I enjoy them.
Is there any particular message that you want to get out that you're not getting out on the media?
Well, we got a great campaign. We're strong. Our numbers are strong. Everything's looking very positive. I mean, it's a huge district. It's running from, I love to say, Dauphin Island to Dothan, Alabama.
Nice.
I love the Wiregrass. I love the people over there. We're working as hard as we can. We've got several people in this race. To our friends in Baldwin County, Mobile County, which will primarily be watching your podcast,
Sure.
Please vote. I mean, I tell the story. I told it last night. We went in the last election. We were ahead of Barry Moore by a poll that we had the week before by 8 points. We had Barry beat by 8 points. Barry didn't even have a victory party set up. Barry was in Washington. We had votes that night, and I missed the votes to be here, and he won. They called him on the floor to let him know he won. The reason he won, a lot of reasons. Obviously, he was a better candidate or he wouldn't have won, but people didn't get out and vote.
Sure.
So regardless of what you think your candidate that you support, whomever it is, please get out and vote.
That's so critical. A lot of people just think that the presidential one is the important one, but this is actually just as, if not more important.
It's just like local races. The most important votes you're going to take are local races. You got city council members that are going to make all your decisions for you.
That's right.
I mean, you got judges that are going to set precedents that will wind up in the Supreme Court. Make sure you got the right people. Your congressman, make sure you got the right people. I'm the only one in this race. I've got 40 years experience in business for myself. I have 8 years of experience in county commission, and I've got 4 years experience in Congress. I've got more experience than all these other candidates added together. That has got to have some value to it.
That's right.
Truly has to have value to it, especially in this day and time, because Donald Trump, when I get sworn in, it's going to have 2 years, and those are going to be the hardest 2 years of his life. You think it's hard now?
That's right.
Wait till you see what happens when they start off in 2027. It is going to be horrible on that man, and you're going to have some experience up there that can stand with him and say no. Mm-hmm. That's simple, no, and back him. We have to quantify all of these executive orders, or the next person that comes in will change them all out.
Yeah.
So it's important we get some experience up there. And I feel like I'm the guy. I'm the one with the experience.
So let's kind of go back. So you ran the last election. You were up by 8 points, and then you got the call. What are you doing differently, and what kind of did you learn from that?
I took about 6 months, and I really did some soul searching. I still worked on some stuff with the maritime industry. I tried the maritime industry, obviously Mobile and Baldwin County too, and the whole state of Alabama. It's very important to us. So I didn't step away from that, but I really did some soul searching myself. I saw where I missed some stuff. I think as a elected official, I think my communication skills got very lacked. I don't think I was reaching out to some of these small groups and where I needed to. And I have touched these small groups since getting back in. And we're going to set up a mechanism where we can actually communicate, monthly, quarterly, whatever we can set up. But I want them to know why I voted for a bill. We all get upset when somebody votes on a bill that we don't like or we disagree with. Don't fire somebody over one vote. Don't run somebody off over one vote.
That's right.
It could have been a wrong vote. It could have been a right vote. You never know all the details.
You never got all the information in front of you. That's right. One thing I loved about when you were in office was your communication. So I felt like you kind of said it was a weakness, but I think during office you were doing Zooms, and then you would also kind of do some live updates on Facebook. So I really appreciated that as a constituent.
Yeah, we did what we thought was the most. But again, I think these small groups that we missed it, and those small groups beat me. I mean, those small groups got outworked. They really did. They wanted somebody that was going to listen better to them. And we were coming through COVID, and we had the folks that were against the vaccine. We had, you just go through these small groups, and they're right, and they have a right to be heard. And I just missed it. I've got nobody to blame but myself. So I'm gonna try my best. That's not going to happen again. Please, God, don't send us through another COVID, another vaccine. I've seen so many things that just. I had to go represent the president in Israel on some stuff, and I had to take COVID shots.
Wow.
Just to get into the country, which I did. But I wished I'd never had done that either. But
That's right.
I'm sure there's a lot of us that wish that, but
Yeah. I was fortunate enough where I didn't have to take a
well,
COVID
most
shot.
of my staff didn't tell the truth.
Okay,
Which I didn't
okay.
force them to do anything, but they were walking around with these cards that said they had it. I didn't ask any questions.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
It was
that's their
crazy time.
business. Yeah,
That's right.
it really was. Especially in Washington, it was crazy. I mean, they wouldn't get on the elevator with us. Democrats wouldn't get on the elevator with us. You know, it was just, I could spend another hour just talking about the changes and rules and regulations that were made during COVID.
It was definitely an eye-opening time in history, and it's interesting to look back and see those pictures of people graduating with masks on
Yeah.
and everything. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit into the real estate market
Mhm.
and kind of talk about the Fed chair. I know that's kind of out of Congress's hands, but what are your predictions on the Fed chair and the real estate market?
You know, I think that the real estate market is going to continue to be strong in areas. We on the Gulf Coast, we can watch. I managed to miss the 2008 crash because I had built several places on Dolphin Island. I had built some commercial property. I had done that, and I watched. I started watching other markets in California, other markets start crashing, and that was my sign. So
Gotcha.
I managed to bail out of everything before 2008 hit. I did have a couple of pieces I got stuck with. I love real estate. I've always bought and sold and traded timberland, different stuff. Never made a tremendous amount of money, but it's fun.
That's right.
And it's if you got the patience, it's certainly. But the market itself, I think America's going to continue to grow. I think we're with tariffs right now, with inflation right now, with so many things going on. Everyone's a little bit skittish, especially when they want to buy that second home down on the beach.
Yeah.
But for somebody like me that's sitting on cash, it's a great time to go buy a place on the beach.
I agree.
You know, there's a lot of us that are we're liquid. I mean, we've got lots of cash. I've sold all my timberland. I've sold all my toys. I've sold everything, and I did that to finish my career in Congress. I didn't want to have to take care of all that. My kids had no interest in it, so I literally liquidated everything I had, including my own home.
Oh wow!
And then I lose the campaign, and of course, I got nowhere to go hunt and fish and play anymore. But that's okay. God's got a plan for me.
That's right.
But the market will carry itself. But as you know, in real estate, better than anybody, real estate market's a roller coaster.
Yeah,
It is truly a roller coaster, and it scares me when the government starts trying to fix prices. That always scares me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you follow it and you see the ups and the downs, and I agree with you. I think,
and we live in a bubble
upward
here.
term.
We truly live in a bubble
We do.
here. That's why I'm saying I'm watching the markets outside of Mobile, Baldwin County, because you're looking at especially Baldwin County. You get down the coastline, all that's second homes, and you start seeing that market and other places start going down. It's going to hit us. Eventually, it's going to hit us. But again, those of y'all with cash, it's a good time to buy in.
Absolutely. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs starting off?
Don't give up. I mean, your idea may be totally wrong. You may totally miss it, but what did you learn from it?
That's right.
Pick yourself up. I can't tell you the number of businesses that I've started that were failures. That I think Thomas Edison said it best. I'm not going to quote him, but his best ideas come from his failures. And just don't give up. You're in America. I mean, you're looking at a guy here that came from a single home. It came from a very humble background, and I become a U.S. congressman. Only in America you're going to do that.
That's right.
So don't take for granted just because you failed, it's over. I mean, I lost my last election. It's not over. It's just starting. I'm on a whole new adventure. And we need to face life that way in our businesses. It's a whole new adventure. And don't be scared to step out there and try to control as much as you can. Do your losses, obviously.
Yep.
And then go for the max. Try to do as best as you can. Try to be a little bit different. You're very different in the way you market. I love it. I mean, I watch your car, I watch your shirts, I watch what you do. But when it comes to thinking real estate in Baldwin County, I think of you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Because you're different.
Yeah,
that's good.
You got to stand out in the crowd.
You're not like me, all wearing the same old suits. And that's a good thing.
Well,
but
I appreciate that, Jerry.
that's your niche.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to convey to the voters today?
You know, again, I want the voters to please get out and vote. If you have any questions, please feel free to get online, call us. We've got numbers and everything listed online, jerrycarlforcongress.com. Please get on Facebook. Please get on our social media sites, like those. Send us messages. We try to answer as much as we can. Need yard signs. You got money you want to donate? You know, all campaigns need money right now. That's nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But please get out and vote. I can't reiterate that enough. It doesn't matter who you vote for as long as it's not somebody else other than me. But, you know, it doesn't matter who you vote for, but please vote. That's your one chance you can express your opinion and actually be heard.
Yeah.
You know, you want to get on social media and make a lot of noise? Go to the poll. If I'd had 3,000 more votes, would have been a different election.
That's right.
But I missed it.
Yeah.
And I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard those
Absolutely.
3,000 people.
Yeah. They were loud.
They are.
Yeah. So you're in a race. I believe is there 5 other candidates? Seven other
total.
candidates in the race.
Well, there's 6 other, but 7 of us total.
Why are you the best choice?
You know, I've got the most experience. I keep falling back on the experience side. I understand what's going to happen these next 2 years up in Congress. You're going to send a new person up there. It literally, that place is massive. They'll be a year walking around in circles trying to figure out. Somebody's going to have to tell them how to vote, who to vote, why to vote. I'm not going up there to spend 20 years in Congress. I'm already pre-trained. There's no on-the-job training for Jerry Carl. So I think I'm the best candidate. I understand it. We may disagree on some votes, but I understand it better than most folks. I understand what my district needs and what they want. I'm willing to fight for it. I have a proven record. Everyone else wants to talk about what they're going to. Everybody wants to tell you they're a Trump supporter. I've been to 4 Trump rallies. I've worked with Trump on his campaigns. I've donated money to Trump. I've got a proven record of everything that I'm trying to sell folks on. So go with experience on this race. We need it. Trump's got 2 years, folks, 2 years. And we've got a lot of things we've got to get firmed up in those last 2 years. And it will be the hardest 2 years for a congressman there is, because there's going to be fights on the floor trying to get Republicans to actually vote with Trump on some of this stuff, because they know that he's not going to be there. So they'll go ahead and do what they think. You know, they'll all of a sudden become not so Trumpy, as I like to say.
That's right. So as a freshman congressman, how long does it take to get acclimated on average?
It took me the first 2 years.
Wow.
Of course, it was
Okay.
during COVID. It was
Sure.
during COVID, and you know, being new on the city council, you're lost. You know, you're afraid to ask
learn
where the
a lot,
bathroom's
yeah.
at. You know, literally, I mean, you have to figure out where the bathroom's at and how to get to and from your office. My office was 1 mile walking through different buildings. It was like a rat maze to get to back and forth to my office. Some of the first votes I had, we had 13 votes in one day. I walked 13 miles that day.
Wow.
So it's very, very confusing for a freshman, and we try to help. Well, we all jump in and try to help the freshmen, but it's not a good time to send a freshman up there.
That's right. There's so much going on in the country right now.
I mean, we don't know where this war is going to be by then. We don't know where the economy is going to be by then. We don't know if the Republicans or the Democrats are going to take over. Again, if the Republicans hold firm, I get back on appropriations, I get back on natural resources, and I promise you, appropriations and natural resources are the 2 most important committees that District 1 needs.
That's right. That's right. Well, Jerry, it's been great having you on the show today. You have done an awesome job, and I appreciate you being out here and your communication when you're in office. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you and your family.
Thank you.
I love your family, man.
Thank you. Same here.
All right. God bless you.
Thanks.